Good evening, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to the Doctor Who weekly review show that is our show of weekly Doctor Whovianness.
Who reviewedness.
This is going to be the review for the night, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
Night of Terror!
Which, when I saw the title, I was hoping for like a Funhouse kind of feel. But we missed last week. The sickness ran through our house and decimated half of the family, and so we actually got to finally watch episode last week. So we want to do a quick rundown from last week, which was Orphan 55, Paradise Resort on a planet that had been decimated by everything. Monsters were trying to eat them. No oxygen.
Right. Bad.
Bad. It was.
It was bad.
It was not a great episode.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was okay. I mean, it wasn't. Every season has these. They're not necessarily filler episodes, but every season has these episodes where, when you go back and rewatch the series, they're skippable. And I felt that was last week.
All right, I liked it.
I liked it, but I just didn't think there was anything to it.
It wasn't the emoji episode from Capaldi.
No.
I mean, I thought it was.
Or
the
the absorbing monster from. Was that Matt Smith? The episode that Matt Smith wasn't in.
Right.
Tenet. It might have been Tenet.
Yeah, I mean, they almost every, I wouldn't say season, but almost every Doctor does these kind of away resort. Like, Tenet had the one where he ended up being stuck on the bus on his way to the vacation, and
and Donna was on her own. Donna was
like
on the vacation, and they switched the monsters and stuff like that.
Everybody kind of has their and I thought this was a nice twist on the vacation episode.
I do like the episode overall, but it felt very preachy like last year. It was very at the end. We have a chance to be better about the Earth and stuff.
That's fair.
Which Doctor Who is preachy. It's always been very preachy about stuff. But this one was very much a smack you in the face kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe without that little speech at the end. It would have been okay.
Because one of my favorite episodes is the Zygon invasion.
Right.
And Capaldi, I fell in love with Capaldi as the Doctor with his war speech.
Right.
And that speech is very preachy, but it's not like smack you in the face preachy. It's very within the confines of the show kind of thing. So overall, okay episode, but I think there wasn't really anything in there important. Unlike this one.
Right.
We were talking about it. This is first off, we get Nikola Tesla and Edison and this time period of the Edison, Tesla, Westinghouse.
Current wars.
The current wars. We saw current wars with Cumberbatch and Holland and everybody.
Yes, this was better than that movie.
This was better than that movie. And this time period is straight out amazing for what happened, what was being innovated, what was being dealt with, what was being like interaction with politics and media, and it wasn't like social media like it is today where everything was instant. Like the time period was like it was in the newspaper and everybody read the newspaper about.
Right, but it was still kind of the same, right? You could flame each other in the newspaper and everybody took it as gospel. Just like you can flame people on social media today and everybody thinks it's the truth, and it's just slower.
It was a lot slower. But the idea that they are... we couldn't think of a time period where they've used Edison in the past with at least the modern doctors.
Yeah.
Maybe the classic doctors, maybe, but I don't remember anything off the top of my head that screamed at me.
I mean, it seems like such a big deal but we just can't remember off the top of our heads.
So if there is one, please tell us in the comments, but be nice about it. And subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching the show. But the idea of the Doctor, a scientist, going and hanging out with Tesla,
right,
and learning, showing Tesla stuff and learning from Tesla and Edison, and how he kind of like just pretty much just, I won't say stole ideas, but took ideas from others and made them improved them or made them better or whatever.
Edison was more the money guy. Yeah, like he just brought a bunch of smart people in and let them invent stuff, and he just threw money at it. Where Tesla was actually
the smart one,
and coming up with the ideas all on his own. And it's kind of just, an aside about this time period. These people were coming up with stuff left and right in like a 20-30 year period.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution is amazing and what they learned and stuff like that. And this episode specifically dealt with Tesla essentially doing the basis of what ended up being Wi-Fi.
Right.
It essentially is at least how they explained it in this episode.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more involved in that, of course, but I love episodes of Doctor Who that are like this. It takes historical, actual things and kind of tells the sci-fi story side of it.
Right.
They did this last year, and some of my favorite episodes last year were the Rosa Parks episode or the Demons of Payon. Payon. I had it, and I can't remember how to say it. But like where they take actual historical events and they intermix their story within it. Not saying that I don't like it when they go in the future too, because some of my favorite Tennant and Smith and Capaldi episodes are when they go in the future and stuff.
Yeah, but like one of our absolute favorite ones is with Daisy's.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. Sorry, the English way of saying
That's like all out, probably at least my favorite episode. And this one felt a little like that. Not quite. Tesla wasn't quite so emotionally crazy.
He was, though, at least in this time period of his life, still coming to the understanding that what he was actually doing was important for the future. And one of the lines at the end is very much saying, today is for everybody else, the future is for me.
Yeah.
And I actually, right at the end of the episode, spoilers, I guess, for the end of the episode, I really wanted I wanted the Doctor to take Tesla into the future and show him a Tesla
like they
car.
Did with Van Gogh.
Yeah, and just show him a Tesla car and then bring him back. It's a little bit too much mirroring of previous episodes, but I like to have seen it. I'm just selfish. The bad guys in this were called the Satine. It's not the Satine. They were kind of robotic, organic scorpions.
Yeah.
And the queen looked like the Spider Queen, at least in her upper body and stuff like that, from Tenet and the Runaway Bride, I think is called the episode.
Yeah.
And
the makeup and stuff was much better on this one.
Yes, but had very much the same. Like they made it on purpose to kind of emulate.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way.
And I was totally okay. And that's one of the things that we've been asking for, and we've been getting it, is these inside baseball references for and I actually, we've only seen the episode once, so we might have to go watch it again, but I think that it might have snuck by us because we were in and out of finishing dinner and eating dinner and stuff like that where we're watching the episode. But I really would like to have heard or seen the Doctor reference that. Like, I've dealt with your kind of species before or something like that, but I don't necessarily remember that happening.
She talks about how, because they're like nothing on their ship or their ship is actually theirs. It's all other species, and they've cobbled it all together. And so she might have said something there, but I don't remember.
I don't remember it necessarily. For what we got in this episode, I really liked this one a lot more than the previous week.
Okay.
Not the last week, like we said earlier. This was not. I've been bugging on this, and you could take it however you want to take it. I'm not going to be upset with it however you take it, but I feel like Doctor Who best is when they're being preachy and not putting it in your face.
Yeah.
And this was
A little more subtle.
a little bit more subtle and a little bit more fun. And the idea of having Tesla and the Doctor working together to work on the ray and
Yeah.
all the different inventions
Yeah.
and the interaction between Tesla and Edison and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did catch out of this episode was this is very much a Doctor and the person of the week episode, and the companions, the fam, were all kind of secondary, not nearly as important as they have been in the previous weeks.
Yeah, but at least they all were secondary, right? So that was
Right,
one of the
right.
complaints from last season, was that it was the companion of the week because there were 3 of them, and one would come up and
Yeah.
work with the Doctor, and the other 2 would be in the background or whatever. And this one was more, all 3 of them were pretty much in the background, and it was the Doctor and Tesla.
I Yaz did have probably the most important stuff for the fam, with her interaction with Tesla
Tesla,
first, and then with Edison later on, and kind of being like Edison, like kind of understanding what's going on, but still being Edison in the whole process. But Yaz was the one that was the kind of the mediator between the two of them.
Yeah.
And Graham and Ryan, although had some funny parts, were kind of delegated to the background, which it happens. I mean, when you have companions, you're going to have these episodes where the companions are in the background a lot, and this was, I think, more this week than we've had in previous weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as a whole.
Yeah.
Now, as we move forward, I really feel like there's going to be a major episode with the companions, the fam, and the Doctors in the background, and it's
Yeah.
going to dictate what happens with the one or multiple of the 3. I really like having the 3 of them, but they made another comment this week about, is this always this crazy?
Yeah.
Is it always like this? And so
Yeah.
they're kind of
I expected them to go a little farther with that, because there was an in for one of them to kind of allude to the fact that they were maybe a little done with all this excitement every single week or whatever, and we didn't get that. So
Right.
I mean, I fully expected.
To be fair, Amy and Rory multiple times in their time pointed out the craziness that was their life.
Right, but that was absolutely an in, here you
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
to one of them saying something, and they didn't. And I was like, huh. I mean, I noticeably was thinking that when
Yeah.
Tesla's assistant or whatever, asked if this is always this crazy. And I just expected one of them to get a little bit of a look, or the 2 of them to look at each other and be like...
They kind of just kind of...
But just, blew it off. And
it wasn't
okay.
Yeah, that Ryan's just like, yeah, this is pretty much an average day, and then Tesla's assistant was one saying,
average would be boring.
average would be boring.
Yeah.
And so,
But you kind of expected Graham to maybe look a little wistful
And
about
he's-
boring might be nice once in a while or whatever,
Yeah,
and
but
they just didn't, and that's fine. We all just keep waiting for the shoe to drop, right? That one of them is
Right,
going to be
right.
like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then
Right.
it's only 2 or maybe even down to 1, and then maybe they come back and pull them in every once in a while, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm not
they teased
upset
it a
with
little
it.
bit in the first couple episodes about Ryan and Yaz's sister trying to maybe do the whole
Right,
kind of whatever.
right,
And I
hook
really,
up, yeah.
I've thought for a long time that Ryan and Yaz were going to be the ones. But I really, I wouldn't be surprised if Graham is the one who sticks around,
Yeah.
and Ryan and Yaz are the ones who leave.
Yeah.
And but now we're just speculating, straight out speculating. But
Yeah.
but you're going to have when you have 3 companions, it just it's a little. It's not too much, but it's on the cusp.
Yeah.
And I really
Yeah.
feel like something maybe coming down, maybe
Maybe.
2 maybes. It's that important that we'll be getting something down the line. But
Yeah, well, I mean, companions don't typically last more than
Three
three
seasons?
seasons.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe Rory and Amy were 3 seasons, and they were pretty beloved. So, yeah, again, we just keep.
Clara was Clara 4 seasons?
Well, it felt like it
on
because
and
she was
off.
in and out.
Yeah, and
she
there was a
the
whole bunch of
souffle girl,
episodes.
and then she was the Dalek, and then she was the Impossible Girl, and then
There was a whole bunch of there was a half of that season with her Capaldi's last season. No. Matt Smith's last season, Capaldi's second season, where she wasn't even there. Like he was stuck in the
yeah.
the prison and
Yeah.
had all this stuff going on with Gallifrey and
Yeah.
everything that was going on
Yeah.
and stuff. Some hints to next week that we get the rhinos.
Rhino dudes.
I know they have a name, but I can't say the name, so
Rub, chub, cub, rub.
and there was a flash of Cybermen in the preview.
Yeah, I
so
didn't see it. You did.
and
but-
there's some like this was a fun episode. This was
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
and they got
the
everything
next
figured
one
out. But the-
seems serious.
seems very serious,
Yeah.
and the doctor seems very upset with what's going on.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really like we haven't really talked about it yet. We're 4 episodes in. I'm so much more happy with this season so
Yes,
far compared to last
yes.
season. Even though last week I didn't feel was such a good episode, it was still better than most of what happened last season.
Yeah, and others seem to be, from what I've been kind of reading here and there, others seem to be feeling the same way. People are feeling it's picking up, definitely.
Yeah, and not on IMDb because there's no episode over 6.5 or whatever in
Whatever.
ratings. But
It's IMDb.
Overall, it seems like there's a lot more
Positive reviews.
and positive network. Now, our sphere of influence for us is very Doctor Who centric, and so I'm wondering how it's doing outside of our sphere. We're in it every week trying to figure out what's going on and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm wondering how it's generating buzz, I guess, to try to bring new people in and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on it. That's our thoughts about this week's episode of Doctor Who called Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. How do we not get a
Terror.
How do we not get a Funhouse episode? We still haven't had our horror episode or our monster episode.
Well, that was kind of
Kinda
a
last
monster
week.
episode.
Last
They
week was
were
kind of monstery.
scorpions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was more the historical episode, but last week was very much monsters.
Yeah.
Tied in with the resort away team episode. Kind of
Away
thing.
team.
That's what it was, right? So let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments. Please be nice. Like we said, we can't remember everything, and I've been drinking. So let us know what you thought of this episode, our review. Like this video or podcast. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and help us out on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes Twitter. All those links are in the description down below. And if you're on the podcast feed, please subscribe to our feed. We're uploading stuff all the time.
Yep. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Share with all your friends, especially your Whovians. And until next time, Whovians and cult members, if we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.